The last 30 minutes of this movie makes this movie worth watching.
Oh, Christ. We gotta call 911.
Hold on. You take him to a hospital and they'll lock you up.
We can't just leave him here.
Is everything all right?
You're acting like this is no big deal, which is totally messing with my mind right now.
Take a deep breath. Finish the job.
Either you tell me what's in the suitcase, or you can get out, and I'll open it myself.
All right, so Night Drive, just recently watched this movie, and I see that not too many people have seen this movie. I looked on IMDb, and only about 145 people have even rated the movie. And the movie is about Russell, who's a rideshare driver, who ends up picking up Charlotte, and basically from the moment he picks up Charlotte, chaos starts ensuing. And to be honest with you, you tell me that's kind of what the movie's about, I'm all in for the movie. Although the movie originally attracted me just because the title was Night Drive, and I think we all like kind of going on those night drives or whatever, right? And the poster looked kind of interesting, so I was like, all right, it's only 80 minutes long. Let's see what this movie's about. And I'm not gonna lie, for a while there, I thought about turning the movie off because although I liked the characters and I thought the actors did a good job portraying the characters, it got to the point where about in the first 35, 40 minutes of the movie, there was a whole lot of talking, which I don't have a problem with people doing talking, but I didn't really know where the movie was going. I was like, okay, so what's the payoff gonna be of this movie? Like, what exactly is happening? Like, because for a while there, it just really lost my attention, but I'll tell you this, it gets to about the 45-minute mark, and the movie really starts to get good. But kudos to the actors doing their thing and everything before that 45-minute mark, because had the actors not had the good chemistry they had with each other and stuff like that, I probably would have shut this movie off. So kudos to you guys, because of you guys, that's what ended up basically saving me and having me watch the rest of the movie. There's a really cool dynamic between these two characters because you have the rideshare driver, Russell, who's very subdued and everything, and then Charlotte, who's a little bit more outgoing and everything. But as the movie goes on, both of them start to escalate. Russell starts to become a little bit less subdued, starts to get a little bit more aggressive, and Charlotte she takes her whole act to like a whole different level. Like, I can't give away anything too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but she just becomes this like crazy person in such a way, and she just becomes crazier and crazier. And then as the movie escalates, the actors start to escalate, and I thought that was really cool. And it all kind of happens at about the 45-minute mark. And I said before, this movie's about only 80 minutes long, so it is kind of a shame that it takes a little bit over the halfway mark for the movie to really kind of kick into gears. But when it kicks into gears, I'm telling you, it really kicks into gear. And as a little nitpick, as someone who lives in LA, there were some things in this movie as far as like locations and geography where characters are, or it was kind of confusing me because there'd be times where I can tell they're at Mulholland Drive and they get on the road or they get on the freeway and they go somewhere else, but then I can tell that they're basically right back at Mulholland Drive again. And it's probably not something somebody who doesn't live in LA would notice. But and like I said, this is a total nitpick, but as someone who lives in LA, there'd be certain times where I would almost be taken out of the movie because I'm just like, okay, so they went from Mulholland Drive, they got on the freeway, then they're back on Mulholland Drive again. But I mean, that aside, like I said, that's just a little bit of a nitpick, but I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, I know it's a smaller budget film and everything, and that's why I have to say kudos to the filmmakers and the actors and everybody involved in making this, because although it's small budget, I thought the camera work was really cool. Thought both of the actors did a really cool job. I mean, they're the selling point. While there are other characters and stuff in this movie, it's just Russell and Charlotte. They are the stars of the show. Them and obviously the car that he drives. But other than that, they're the stars of the show, and I thought this movie, actually, for a small budget film, did a pretty good job. So as far as recommendations go, right now, this movie, I think, is just a movie you gotta wait to basically watch when it comes to a streaming service. It's not a movie that I personally feel you need to go out and spend the money to rent or spend the money to buy. But when it ends up hitting a streaming service in the future, whether that be like a Netflix or Hulu or anything, I definitely do feel like it's a movie worth your time. Really only downside I could say about this movie, and it kind of is a pretty big downside, especially if you're someone that really wants to kind of get into the action right away, is the first 10-15 minutes are pretty cool. But then after that, it doesn't really get going again until the 45-minute mark. But I promise you, if you stick around and watch the rest of the movie, the payoff at the end is definitely worth your time. And when it hits the streaming service, I think you should definitely watch it. You don't want to miss out on this one.
Where are we going now?
I don't know. Don't you just like driving at night sometimes?